It's nice to be back at a Rotary Club. I feel like I'm back at home. I've spoken at many Rotary clubs here in Harare, and it's nice to be on the other side of the country. So that is quite new and exciting for me. Okay, so I'm here today to talk to you about how we can create world peace from within. So this is something that it's very difficult to express this in a way that doesn't sound very esoteric or very airy fairy. And a lot of people tell me, what do you teach people? What are you into? And I say inner peace, and immediately they think, oh, she's a hippie and she's a tree hugger, and she's all about save the bunnies and that sort of thing. But actually, it's quite an important facet of creating world peace. When we think about world peace as the bigger picture, you think about inner peace as the bristles on inner peace is the bristles on the paintbrush that paints that picture. So individuals are these bristles, and these bristles need to be good. Otherwise, we're not going to have a good picture, right? So peace starts from individuals, and it starts from within. So when we talk about creating peaceful individuals, we then talk about creating peaceful communities, which leads to a peaceful country, to peaceful nations, which then leads to a peaceful world. So really, when we create peaceful individuals, we create a peaceful world, because the world is made up of individuals. So it's really quite simple, but it's often a neglected side when we talk about peace in the bigger scheme of things. So that's sort of what has led me to these movements that I've created, and all the work that I've been doing with Kites for Peace, with Ignite, with all these kind of personal peace projects. So let me start with Kites for Peace. So what we've created is a child-led movement, because of course, you start with your youth, you start with children, and I'm not sure how many of you are parents, but so much of what I learn, I call my children my gurus, because so much of what I learn is from my own children. They are, there's simplicity in their understanding of the world. And, as adults, we really complicate things. We complicate things so much, and we inadvertently cause divisions in our views, and we create divisions between, what religion we are, what nationality, what tribe, what language we speak, what color our skins are. And children don't have those. They don't have those. And it's very simple. So it's quite appropriate that children are leading this movement, because they really are the future. And I actually think that our children are our hope. And I think that they will lead us out of, the current turmoil and the current conflicts that we have. So it's a child-led movement. And again, when we talk about introducing things in a peace in a simple way, so where, our SDG is SDG 16, but how do we teach peace to children? We don't want to talk to them about war, and we don't want to talk to them about politics, and we don't want to talk to them about all of these huge issues that we struggle ourselves to understand. So when you explain it to children, you actually understand it better yourself. And so it is also appropriate for adults, So we introduce SDG 16 in a way to children that they find appropriate, that they find fun, because of course all children want to do is play, So that's why we created it around a fun activity, which is kite flying. There's many different facets to kite flying. I mean, I'm sure if you have flown kites as children, you likely, if you grew up in Zimbabwe, you likely made your own kites, you know, because we didn't have fancy toy stores. I can't remember if Kingston's ever sold kites, but I never had a bought kite. A kite was always made for me with an adult, with an older sibling. And it was fun times, you know. I had somebody who cared about me, who was creating a kite with me. And then I would create this kite and I would hold it in my hands, I'd make it myself. And the next thing I knew, it was touching the sky. And there's something so beautiful and symbolic about kite flying. Again, we talk about purpose and we talk about dreams and aspirations. Just the fact that you can create something, and as a child, the most important thing to you is a toy. If you can create your own toy, and this toy actually works, and this toy actually touches the sky, I think it kind of instills a sense of belief in you that, you know, anything is possible. And yeah, so I did have a romantic childhood. With that, I had olivine tin guitars. I had all sorts, we had all sorts of handmade toys, and the best memories created from it. So that's one aspect. The other thing with making kites, or making a toy for a child, that's it's a life skill. Again, toys are very important to children. So if a child can create something that is most important to them at that stage of their life, so a 7-year-old will make their own kite and they'll fly it. They have created something themselves that they didn't have. And this life skill then carries on into adulthood, where you're an adult and you're like, oh, I don't have this. I don't have A, B, or C. Let me create it. Let me make it myself. You know, so it's also instilling that sense of confidence. Like, I don't need lots of money to make something, or I don't need, it's inaccessible. You know, you can make things yourself. And I think Zimbabweans particularly are very good at this, you know, of improvisation, innovation, you know, that sort of thing. And it starts in childhood. And so when you can help children create their own toys, it's also important to note we don't only encourage kite flying. So kite flying is quite unique, and it's a sport that appeals to me because it's outdoors. You have to be outdoors. You have to be in large outdoors. It's pretty. It flies, but we also encourage other recreation. So skateboarding. We encourage children to make other toys. One of our groups was making basketball nets out of orange sacks, you know, and you know, creating windmills out of plastic bottles. So, you know, all these kind of things we encourage. Of course, that ties in again with recycling and the green movement, which of course we promote. So, okay, so that's a little bit about Kites for Peace. But, you know, another aspect of peace. So at our events, we've had 6 events so far. I'll talk to you in a minute about those. But at our events, we're basically inspiring people to tap into their joy. So if you go out to a picnic with your loved ones, you're enjoying your family, you're enjoying your friends, you're enjoying other people, you're appreciating them, you're appreciating nature, you're appreciating the greatest gift that Zimbabwe has is our beautiful weather. We have beautiful weather. We have beautiful landscapes. And every year we move our event. We've had it at Lake Chivero. We've had it at the top of a hill called Ngomo Kurira. We've had it at Haka Game Park before. And last year we had it at the Botanical Gardens. So every venue is different, and every venue is a different kind of landscape that that people can enjoy. And it kind of gives them ideas of how they can go out and create this joy for themselves. So it's spending time with family. It's appreciating nature. It's finding something that makes you joyful, but something that's non-stressful. You know, you're not worried about how much your 5-iron cost you, um, if something gets scratched. You know, it's affordable. It's also accessible. So you know, people of all income levels can fly a kite. People in wheelchairs have flown kites. The oldest we've had very old people come with their grandchildren. And last year there was a lady who sent us a message and said, "I haven't flown a kite in 50 years, and I flew one with my grandchild." Um, and so that's great. You know, you can be of any fitness level. My son was 2 when he started flying his first kites. So it's every age, every ability, and it's cool. Okay. Sorry about that. So yeah, so that's basically what we try and inspire at our events, is for people to do this. Another aspect of our events, I'll tell you a little bit about the history of the Zimbabwe Cares Charity Network. When we started the event, the first 2 years were just kite flying festivals and picnics. We spoke about peace, but by the third year, when the interest was growing, kind of felt that we needed to be a little bit more robust, and people were calling for there to be a little bit more to the event. So what we used to do is we didn't used to. It wasn't a very formal event. We just used to tell people, come with your picnics. You pay whatever entrance they're paying at the gate. You pay that. We're not taking anything from you, and just join us. Just, you know, kind of very much like a free park feel. But by the third year, saying we'd like to have drinks, we'd like to have food. You know, where can we buy kites? So I wanted that convenience to be at the event, to attract more people to the interest of talking about peace and the interest of kite flying. So I invited a few friends from a group that I was on, and I said to them, look, you have a very small charity, and I'd like to support you. Why don't you come and you sell hot dogs? Why don't you come and sell burgers? Why don't you just come and sell braai packs and drinks and ice cream? And so we had 15 participants that first year. And it was great because as they were selling their stuff, they were fundraising for themselves, and they were also raising awareness about the work that they do. So it was great. People who didn't know anything about autism were learning about the autism trust that we have here in Zimbabwe. At the same time, they were buying their drinks, you know. So I found that really worked. It was an idea that really worked. At the event, they actually got to meet each other physically. And they hit it off. Again, like I was saying with the P, you know, we're of the same tribe. We kind of think we speak the same language, and this is exactly how it was. They got on so well, and you know, the ideas were sparking as they just met each other, and the excitement grew, and they said, why don't we continue this networking? And so we did, and it was more or less then that the Zimbabwe Cares Network actually took off, and more people joined. So we're now sitting on 140 charitable organizations within Zimbabwe that are using the network. So this is a great number. Personally, as the coordinator of this network, I know all of them personally. They're all amazing, and I would recommend all of them for donations. I use them in my CSR work. You know, when a donor wants to make a contribution to a specific cause, I have them all on tap. So I know that they're trustworthy. I know that they're transparent. I know that they're efficient because I've worked with them before. And that's basically the only requirement for them to be within the network, is for them to kind of full those requirements that they are they're efficient and they're honest and they're registered, most importantly. So that's how the charity side grew and how the Zimbabwe Cares Network grew. And this taps in very well to peace because I always believe, I mean, today's Mahatma Gandhi's birthday. And Mahatma Gandhi very famously said, if you want to feel good, do good for others. And you know, it's so true. I remember the first time I visited an old age home, I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to do my service for today. And I'm going to go visit the old people and give them a little bit of, company and, you know, but when I came out of there, I felt amazing. I felt so wonderful. I felt like I had just been for a therapy lesson because these elderly people gave me all this attention and all this love. They were giving me parenting tips and cooking tips, and I had such a great time. And after that, you know, visiting old age homes is my favorite thing to do because I benefit from it so much. So again, this taps into creating peaceful individuals, is when people can realize that there's something bigger than themselves and that they can be a part of it. And especially in Zimbabwe, when we are so down about the situation, and you know, people keep talking about problems, but they never they find it difficult to find solutions, or the solutions lie with other people. They say the solutions to the problem lies with this group, or the solution lies with this man or this woman. And they don't feel empowered that any solutions to the problems that we have actually lie within us as well, you know. So we are also part of the change, and we can also be, you know. And so I tell people this and they say, okay, so what can I do? And I've got 1,000 ideas of how you can help these 140 organized organizations. They are organized, they are helping people, they've identified the needs, they've analyzed, and they've understood how these groups of people in need actually need help. And so all you need to do, it's pretty simple, is you connect with them and you say, how can I help? How can I help this little school that you've started? How can I help these ladies living with breast cancer? How can I help the widows? You know, how can I help? And there's so many ways. And people say, okay, well, I don't have money. I don't have money to donate to this cause that I care so much about. But another aspect of the Zimbabwe Cares Network that we encourage is we don't need your money. We need you, because you are more than just your wallet. You are a person with knowledge, you're a person with skills, and hopefully you're a person with time. So, you know, more than just giving money, we ask you to give yourself. So if you know a skill, you can, you know, if you know how to do beading or you know how to do sewing, take on 2 widows and teach them how to sew. They go back into their community and they teach more people how to sew. You know, so there's a lot of that empowerment as well. You know, it's much more than money. And the money side of it comes like in my CSR work. Companies have an agenda. They want to promote they want to show that they're responsible. They give money and that sort of thing, which is great. But that is a very corporate and very impersonal way of giving. It's great and it's absolutely necessary. But as individuals, we're doing it for ourselves. So giving $50 to the Widows Project is great, but you give it, it's a momentary thrill, and then it's over. But when you actually take on the time and say, I'm just going to give 3 lessons and I'm going to teach them the basics of something. You've actually empowered them, but you've also given yourself some power to know that you are part of the change and you're part of the difference. And you've made the difference in one life, but those skills and what you have done, I promise you, is never kept with one person. It's never ever kept with one person. it's always spread. People in communities that we work with, they never keep things to themselves. There's a very great sense of Ubuntu, where people go out and they share their knowledge, they share what they know, they share what they have, and it's not only material things, you know, and it's incredibly rewarding, incredibly rewarding. I think Edward Spoon is here. He is a great example of, I can't find you, Edward. He's a great example of, you know, sharing knowledge. So a few months ago, I had spoken to him about my idea of Kites for Peace and bringing it into communities and into schools and to children. And Edward here loved the idea, and he took it. And last week, they spent every single day flying kites. And I think it was an incredible time. Everybody looked like they had an incredible time, and the children were happy. And this is how we've changed it. So he didn't only keep it to himself or to his school. He he then um, he then spread it throughout his community. And again, it's a ripple. You know, you keep hearing kindness is a ripple, and it keeps growing, and people keep forwarding it on. So again, giving of yourself is never, it's never small. It's always big. And it's sometimes, I think it's much more valuable than giving money. So okay, so I'm gonna kind of wind up now because I think I'm running out of time. Am I? How am I doing for time? B?
Yeah, just a few more minutes, Sue.
Okay.
You're doing well.
Okay, so you can find out more about Kites for Peace and the work that we do on www.flykitesforpeace.com. And, you know, hopefully it will inspire you. You don't need to fly a kite, um, but I think it's very important that we understand and we value that peace really starts within ourselves, and it starts within our homes, and within our schools and within our communities. And then we can talk about peace on a peaceful, on a national level, and then on a global level. Um, so yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. You can look up our peace pledge, which is pretty cool, and it's quite universal. The Kites for Peace idea has kind of caught on a lot across the world. You know, using kites in recreation as a way of teaching peace. As an ex-teacher, I wish there was a curriculum for peace, peace teaching. And I really think that perhaps someday in the future there will be. But I think teaching peace, not only to children, but also to adults, because we have actually forgotten. You know, I think it's a very important part of, I think it's a very important part towards the bigger picture.